I'd like to call the June 12th, 2022 meeting of Ogden Town Board to order. Please stand for pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. I'd ask that you remain standing for a moment of silent reflection, prayer for military servicemen and women serving around the world, as well as for our first responders. Thank you. We are going to start with something pretty special. One second. Just Sarah, you might join me in that part. Before we do this, I just want to welcome Sal to the County Council and just say how much we appreciate you taking the time and family also taking the time. You never do these things in isolation or by yourself. There's a tremendous amount of wisdom and experience. If you wouldn't mind, place your left hand in the Bible, right hand. I, Sal Trevino, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
That I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will safely discharge
the duties of Ogden County Council
the duties of Ogden Town Council
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, we have another presentation tonight, quarterly update from Gates Volunteer Ambulance Service. I'd just like to approach. Hey, Chief,
Great, how are you?
we got the quarter.
You have it?
Yeah.
Oh, you were fast. Well, let's see, for detail. So this is our report of the third quarter of July, August, and September of this year. I have it broken down into calls by municipality, starting out with Ogden, obviously, the most important one here tonight. 107 in July, 106 in August, and 101 in September. Those are the calls that we responded to in the district of Ogden, so for a total of 314. Of those calls, you can see down at the bottom there where of those 36 of those calls were calls that we went to, we did a lift assist, or we did a cancel, we might have done a treatment on scene, but they received no bill. So of those responses, 36 of them did not receive a bill for us showing up and responding to whatever they had for that. I'd like to point out that overall total calls from the district were 2,331 calls. In the village itself as well, we responded to a total of 147 calls for the village's tech support that we went to. And then down at the bottom, you can see of those calls, 18 of those were canceled for service that we went to. Kind of jumping up and down. So total amount billed at Gates Ambulance bill now, just to be kind of the rest of what's going on with Gates as a whole. For the quarter, we billed out $1.3 million in revenue. We only received $492,000. The rest of that is unfortunately unbillable money or money that we won't receive. It's the difference between what we bill and what Medicare and Medicaid is, basically. And that's kind of where that loss comes into play. And then on the bottom there, I did say total credits given write-offs year to date. It doesn't encompass, it's difficult to pull them out due to zip codes and stuff like that, or billing scheduling software, but for Ogden Parlin Spend Support, total credits given, which is $175 that we give to residents. So we've given out $81,000, almost $82,000, this year alone, and back to the people who were taxed. So again, 82,000 so far given out. Gates as a whole, not including that number, is 328,000 that we've basically given back to the people. So overall, we're looking at almost $400,000 for that $175 credit that we in return. So calls dropped for the quarter is 116 calls that we dropped in the 3 months. What that means is that we did not have an ambulance to respond. So what happens when we don't have an ambulance to respond to a call? There's a couple things. Either another agency comes in, primarily another agency comes in to cover that call, whether that is Monroe, CHS, right, whoever happens to be available. And it's kind of a weird thing going on in the county now. And you will know a lot, you said you listen to the news and stuff like that, and what's going on in Hilton and so forth. And I'm sure you saw the news about us picking up a naked woman in the city. That as well. And what that amounts to is the lack of EMS personnel. It's just, there's no manpower. There's no manpower anywhere in the city. And to give you an example of that woman on the ground for 45 minutes naked, we had a chiefs meeting today and we talked about that call in particular. And come to find out 4 other agencies turned that call down. For whatever reason, they said didn't have enough resources, only ambulance left. Whatever the reason would be, they didn't go. We finally went. Obviously, when we picked her up and took the emotions to go. The bad thing is that Joseph Villian doesn't understand a lack of manpower, right? They call 911, they want an ambulance, they want an ambulance to show up. Sometimes there is a significant delay depending on where you are reaching. Now, I think we do a very good job. We cover 95% of our calls. And that is high for what's going on right now. There are some agencies that are at 88, 89% call coverage due to a lack of manpower. Really. But our officers are tasked with managing the calls. So the calls come in, and especially from mutual aid. So we get sent to Rochester. We have a little matrix here we use. So depending on the acuity of the call, is it an ALSP? Okay, well, if we have 2 trucks in service, someone's going to go. If we only have 1 truck in service, nobody goes. So basically, our call response is based on this matrix here. Is it an MHA in the city of Rochester? We're not going. That call can sit forever. The police officer can sit there until someone from the city frees up. So based on the acuity level of calls, our decision making of whether or not we actually leave our district and whether or not we have the trucks in the house. So at any given point in time, we have 3 trucks, roughly speaking. When we drive down to 1 truck, it's at the DO's discretion. When the duty officer gets to decide when that call drops, it's a trouble breathing and an 85-year-old woman gasping for breath, they're probably going to take that call with no fucking service. But if it comes in as the person has, injured their foot, they're not going. They're going to sit in gates and refuse that call. So last month, at our board meeting, we had a total of we had roughly 162 mutual aid calls that we were requested for. So of those 162 mutual aid requests, we turned down 47 of them, meaning we do not have a truck to send you. And that doesn't mean we didn't have an ambulance. It just means our last ambulance wasn't going out. Cover that call. So that's kind of how we handle it. And so again, it's based on acuity because we never want to turn down someone who needs a call for a chest pain or trouble breathing, right? Or not breathing, or even unresponsive because it's a drug overdose and they're barely breathing. We certainly don't want to turn that stuff down. But we do turn down the other stuff, the low acuity stuff that can move. We just say no call, no truck available, and we have activities unavailable to respond. So that's kind of how that mutual aid thing works and how it works if we don't have a truck and so forth. You have to be kind of careful though because we don't want to turn down everything and then nobody's coming to us. If that makes sense. So we have a mutual aid agreement with people. And if we become that agency that we're always like not available, not available, not available, suddenly now CHS is going to say, you never come and help us, guess what? We're not available. And we don't want to do that. And that's certainly not the case with Gates. It is the case with a couple agencies out in the region. But it is not the case with us. And we certainly do the best we can to cover all of our calls and help out. So that's kind of what I have to say. If there's any other questions.
just have one question. Maybe this is hard to quantify, but any of the times that you're going to call for service on a mutual aid outside of the district, is there ever a time where in the district the call is made and you no longer have a truck to respond to?
Rarely, and I'll tell you why. What happens is, so say the truck's heading to, I don't know, use the city, for example, but say they're going into the city for whatever reason, and they get that call, and then they could literally be a Mount Reed in the city line, and Gates are on the call. And, they'll be on the line saying, well, 4569, please put us on to get the call from Gates, and usually out the call from the city, and they will turn around and they will come back. Now, if they're already committed on scene, obviously they can't do that. But if they are en route, you will hear them get on the radio and turn down the call they're headed to and say, "Here, going back to our district." And that's kind of how that is handled.
Of the calls that you have where, I don't want to say you're not available, is it, might you have two trucks, but not both of them are manned? In other words, you've got a vehicle but not personnel? Or is it usually?
So if we have personnel, and I can tell you how it works. If we have personnel, we can put a truck on. We have it. There was a day last week where we had 5 trucks going. We usually staff 3. But what'll happen is I come out of the office, I'll pair up with Dan, our building department is all certified to be on the road. So when those calls drop, we don't let them go. If we have people that can get on an ambulance and we have an ambulance available, whether or not it's actually on board for 911, we are running out the door and saying, Gates out, Gates takes the EMS. We have approved police soldier outside, and then we go. So we truly, that is our first priority. We will drop everything to cover calls, and it is an understanding across the board that we come out of office, we take those calls. Period.
Anybody else?
I'd just kind of like to know where you are since the creation of the next district tonight.
Yeah, so, and that's a good question. So I will have a better answer for you. We're in the process of switching accountants. So he's going to have a report for us in October 25th, 26th, whatever that last day of the month is. So I will be able to get an actual running number of those the numbers that we have filled out specifically for the town of Ogden. But I can tell you that since the tax district was established, phenomenal. I can't even explain it. Little things like you wanted to get Lucas devices that we're looking to get, right? Which it's for cardiac and everything. It's helped us do that. So we were able to get a small grant from outside company, but we still had to throw some money into that. If it wasn't for this tax district, we wouldn't have been able to do that. We wouldn't have been able to say, yes, we can go ahead with that $26,000 purchase. Because now this is something that's going to actually help outcomes. It's going to help us at cardiac arrest. It's going to give the people of this district a better outcome if they do have an arrest and we do get pulses and respiration back on one of the people. So that helps because last year at this time, we would have to say, no, we can't get that. So that right there, it is an automatic improvement for us.
Are you utilizing the partials for their Lucas machine or when they go in service or 500s or no?
We just started doing training with Chief Clark, Torres, and we've been on schedule, joint training, and there's a couple more coming up with that too. So obviously, you guys will deploy that, and we will obviously do that.
So you're planning to mutually run with the or 500 with Arlene?
Well, your fire department will go on any cardiac arrest call in the district anyways. Yes, we would plan on using that device. And now that we have one as well, where we can start first, whatever, as soon as that device can be on the patient. At the end, it's just part of the patient.
Anything else? Please pass along with the board's gratitude to the managers that come and serve the town. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Do something.
Okay, approval of the minutes, resolution 271.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Thomas. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next, resolution 272, approving of the September 28th.
So moved.
I'll also second that.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Thomas. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next is privilege of the floor. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board about any topic? Right.
That's right.
Very quickly, seeing none, we'll close privilege of the floor. And then we'll move to resolution 273, reports and minutes from town officers. I'll move. Moved by Councilman Thomas, seconded by Councilman Freeman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Next, town audits, resolution 274.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Thomas, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Reports from town officers. I had the opportunity to go to a very interesting gathering of the New York State Office of Cannabis Management because the location is listed as Spencerport, but is clearly in the town of Parma. And one of the reasons that I think that the visit ended up being really worthwhile is to understand that this is, for sure here in New York State. And from here on out is kind of our responsibility to manage the law that's been passed. I learned a lot, and these farmers know a great deal about what they're doing. Very knowledgeable. Huge takeaway I had is that the very symbolism of cannabis, which is use, have zero. They do absolutely nothing for the for the sales of the product. It's interesting. But the biggest thing that I said to them on behalf basically of what this board said was, you guys have no rules. You didn't have a board at the time. Everything is cash based, and dangling 4%, 1 to the county and 3 to us. The amount of sales that need to be done for us to just hire 1 additional police officer to help, it is just not worth it. And until you come out with rules, until you come out with regulations, we're certainly not going to consider this at all. They said they'd come out with rules in December, and there's a 60-day waiting period or something like that for our review. But even this place had issues with theft and breaking in, and it was a farm. We are a right to farm community, and our farmers can also grow this crop. And it's something that I just wanted to bring to the board's attention. Next thing is that we had a great meeting again with the county clerk's office in discussing a potential comeback of the mobile DMV service. Certainly it'd be different, but we've talked a lot about utilizing this room, and one of the things that is kind of a deal breaker for them is us not having either paid staffed security or a panic button. And when we started considering the panic button for here, our police chief wisely said, I don't know why you don't have it anyways for the rest of your meetings. And so I think that that's something that we're exploring and Tony's on. We have panic buttons in various places in this building that report directly to 911 and also to our police department. And so we're going to be looking into the cost of running that and potentially upgrading the whole system. The system has not been upgraded in a very long time. But great news that we are for sure looked at positively for a potential site for a mobile DMV, which is great for our residents. I did attend the ribbon cutting for the new chef's location, which is unfortunately in Parma, but I know that we utilize that facility often, different associations that we have here in town. I did want to let the board know, although you should have received an email, that there is a ribbon cutting for Pineway Country Club next week, Wednesday at 1 p.m. And everybody is invited to attend.
Thank you.
I would.
Grants funding for Little Red, there's an opportunity for us to receive some grant funding for that. And on that note, I actually asked Tony if he wouldn't mind coming and sharing a quick update on all of, I mean, we've been passing resolutions left and right, and so I figured it'd be prudent for us to just take a look at what's going on. So Tony, you won't mind?
So when I originally did, I gave you guys a copy, when I originally did it, was before the last board meeting, so,
Tony, I'm sorry. Can
Sorry,
you come up? I can't, you're not, you go up, sorry. No.
so before the last board meeting, what you had to paper there, the items in black were already, in process or money was planned. Items in red went to the board last meeting and were approved. The mold remediation has been complete. The internal drain tile that has been, that contract has been signed with the contractor, but it hasn't started, and the same with the bathroom upgrade. The highway department did the exterior French drain system on the outside. I didn't total those, all they are is one of the materials. That number was the number Dan was guessing on the material. The plumbing and structural repair numbers are, I kind of just made those numbers up. That's going to be stuff that I'm going to do. As my time allows and as the contractor is doing the bathroom, I try to get everything in. The windows, I hit a roadblock. I had one contractor decide not to bid due to the fear of what they would get into in construction. I had two other bids come in, both over $20,000. So it's something that is going to have to go out for a sealed bid, and at this point, probably will not happen this year. But the furnace is going to be installed. I think we're in really good shape. We've done a lot to enjoy that building already. I'm really looking forward for it to rain. I know it sounds terrible, but I really want to see it rain. See what it looks like.
Got a little bit of rain, the water was flowing pretty good, so.
I have met some pump is thinking the highway department every day because I've never seen this at all. It's just a big difference already. I think tomorrow night will be like.
It's a little bit of game almost very well.
I don't think it's a- That's where we're at.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, highway department, for all the help on that.
Thank you guys for allowing us to do the work.
Absolutely, yeah. Very last thing I have is that we've been working pretty hard on the budget, and we will be going into a work session to do just like a preliminary overview of the budget report. And that's it. Next, Councilman Baker.
The only thing I have is Monday, the 17th at 3 o'clock is our next comp and steering committee. For that, I think we're going to be tackling residential.
Good. Councilman Gervino, any report?
Nothing official, just thanks to supervisor and also the highway superintendent. It's my first time sitting. I got a personally attended tour of the town hall, all the department heads, staff, and both and the building department. I'm sorry, the highway department. Makes it equally easier to get acclimated to some of the things that but I had not yet. So thank you.
Welcome aboard. Councilman Hinman.
A couple weeks ago, I got to go to the Sunbrook Fire Department Sullivan House and get to see firsthand the new truck that we bought. And ride it up high above the rooftops. So it was fun. It was a good opportunity. There's a lot of communities there. A lot of kids around, got to see things. So really well done. I thought it was something that made me proud that I department did.
We don't want to know.
I talked to the chief. So. But yeah, it was a good time. So I was glad I was. But that's it.
Very good. Councilman Thomas.
No report. then.
Okay, six. Highway Superintendent Dan Wolf.
The only thing I got is the 19th of this month, the fire department was nice enough to give us their bus. And, the crew will carry it all summer long, so we're going to Syracuse for the day, for the equipment show up there. Luncheon and stuff, and, fire department, we're using their bus to go up there. All before we go, so we won't be around that day at all.
That's a novel. Now I get it. Very good. Town clerk Noel Burke.
We survived school taxes. And, we are just in the process of sending out a lot of receipts. Everybody, you know, it's kind of the last piece of the puzzle, sending out the receipts, to everybody that's paid. So, just thank you to my staff and for working hard, and everybody giving us a break on the minute. So I apologize for the delay, but,
I don't know, pretty good.
Your colors come back, no one's so pale. Not sleeping.
hopefully we're off 30.
All right, Dan Shum.
Really, the agenda is pretty much what happened the last couple of weeks. We got the overnight parking local law to be adopted tonight. Scheduling the hearing for the rezoning and Shepherd Road. There is a resolution to approve the purchase of the playground equipment for this campus. And I was glad to be able to work with the recreation department on that. I will report that I did receive a copy of the deed to be recorded for Green Spring Lane, section 1, so that can go on your inventory of roads, and we can put a stop sign up that means something, finally. And just this week, I had a very, I think, productive meeting with the building department, supervisor, myself, planning board, zoning board attorney, concerning Homestead for Hope and their project that they'd like to move forward with, the next step, if you will, or stage. That'll be coming up next 2, 3, 4 months. That's it.
Thank you. Let's move into new business then.
Resolution 275, negative declaration of environmental significance for introductory local law number 5 of 2022, prohibiting overnight parking at 416 Washington Street.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Kinman. Is there any discussion on this? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Resolution 276, enacting introductory local law number 5 of 2022, prohibiting the overnight parking at 416 Washington Street.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Kinman. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Next item, please.
Resolution number 277, scheduling a public hearing for rezoning of lands 0 Gillette Road, tax map number 117.02-1-6.111 for Wednesday, October 26th at 7 p.m.
Second, moved by Councilman Kinman, seconded by Councilman Thomas. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Next item, please.
Scheduling, resolution 278 is the scheduling of the public hearing of the 2023 preliminary budget for Wednesday, October 26th at 7:05 p.m. And before you say anything, I personally have the preliminary budget that I will be delivering to the board tonight. For the record.
Second, moved by Councilman Trevino, seconded by Councilman Baker. All those in favor, I'm sorry, is there any discussion on this item? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Next item.
Resolution 279, approve the hiring of Richard Cotton to the position of part-time laborer at the Ogden Senior Center.
I'll move that.
Moved by Councilman Kinman, seconded by Councilman Trevino. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Resolution 280, approving the completion of a probationary period for Ashley Goder, Office Clerk 3 in the Ogden Parks and Recreation Department.
Second, moved by Councilman Trevino, seconded by Councilman Baker. Any discussion on this? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Next item, please.
Resolution 281, approving the promotion of Brian Townsend to the position of building inspector, effective October 6th, 2022, with a 26-week probationary period.
Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Keenan. Any discussion on this item?
Real quick, on the way it's written, it says 26-6. Is that, this supposed to be 26 week?
I think it's supposed to be 26-week probationary period.
So not 26, is it?
Correct, six consecutive 26-week periods. That would not be right. Thank you for that correction. So noted. And basically with that correction, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
The thing I gotta say about it, it's been a pleasure working with Brandon Sue in the building department. I mean, it's a completely different atmosphere.
I was just going to say the same thing, and I think it's been a welcome addition to the building department, and I think he's got a lot of plans to continue to improve both our code and enforcement.
So we've heard a lot of compliments. Very good. All right, next item, please.
Resolution 282, authorizing the transfer of funds from the town's fund balance to account for the 22 cost of hiring, for the 2022 cost of hiring the highway department safety coordinator.
So moved. Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Trevino. Is there any discussion on this item? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next item, please.
Resolution 283, authorizing the adoption of an hourly wage scale for the newly created position of safety coordinator.
So moved. Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Trevino. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Next item, please.
Resolution 284, authorizing the appointment of Todd Ritzenthaler to the position of full-time safety coordinator in the Ogden Highway Department, effective October 17th, 2022.
So moved. Second. Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Keenan. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Resolution 285, authorizing the Ogden Police Union to purchase a town-owned Glock 30S 45 caliber service weapon and approving the transfer of this weapon to former Ogden Police Chief Chris Mears.
Moved by Councilman Keenan, seconded by Councilman Trevino. Any discussion on this? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 286, appointing Pamela Gallagher to the position of sole appointed assessor for the town of Ogden for the balance of the term to expire on September 30, 2025.
So moved.
Seconded. Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Tom. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Resolution 287, authorizing the Ogden Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a contract agreement with MRC/Game Time for the installation of a new playground at the Ogden Community Center.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Trevino, seconded by Councilman Keenan. Some discussion. Those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item is resolution 288 for adjourning to a work session. Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Trevino. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. We are adjourned to work session.